It is Tuesday night, December 13th, 2022. Special Boiler Breakdown episode coming at you tonight. I'm Tanner Lane along with my co-hosts Evan Webb and Andrew Eiler as we finally get to talk about Purdue's new head football coach. That was announced today. Ryan Walters, defensive coordinator, former defensive coordinator from Illinois, is the 37th head football coach in Purdue University's program history. How are you guys feeling about the hire? Or let's backtrack. When it was dropped today, how were you feeling at the time?
I was a little underwhelmed, but I don't think that's anything necessarily wrong with him. I think just more of us all three, reading the message boards, reading Twitter, all that. Like you see,
we knew better.
We knew better. We knew way better. It was crazy how tight-lipped this hire was.
Unbelievable.
I don't really remember the Brom hire because I wasn't on the message boards, and Tanner, you were probably more in tune than the other two of us. I just started following Boiled Sports at that point when Brom got hired. So I didn't really, I wasn't reading anything about it. So this was my first coaching search where I was in the thick of it every day. And you see people think they know something, you kind of fall into the trap of they have to know something. They're saying too many, it could just be just some rando just posting stuff, and you fall into this name, this potential hire. You're reading the Kalen DeBoer names, and that gets me really excited. And then when it's not any of those, you kind of get disappointed. But I think, just since from it was announced to tonight, I think it was probably the Maccabee video that came out. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see what he can do. I think a lot of it probably gonna be reserved to see what he does with the coordinator positions. I think that's gonna be kind of especially with young coaches, can be make or break. But I'm definitely warming up to it a lot more than I was at 10 a.m. whenever it was this morning when they announced it.
Same way, because they said all the speculation online that Purdue's going to make a big splash, and outside of those message boards, it has been very positive. The whole media, everybody really, really likes the hire. Obviously Illinois hates to lose him,
which is usually a good sign.
Everybody that really, everybody outside of the football program is absolute home run. He's going to be up and comer, 36 years old. I think finalist for the coordinator of the year, defensive Art Briles award.
He was coordinator of the year.
He was coordinator of the year, but he's up for So same. I think at the time I was hoping. I didn't know who. It's not. It wasn't going to be whatever, Shane Beamer or somebody, but not realistic. All that stuff that was out speculated. But had we 9 days ago when it was you can have the best coordinator in the Big Ten, who's 36 years old and he's going to be I don't know. I think Brian Newberg compared him to Marcus Freeman, kind of at Cincinnati before he got the Notre Dame head coaching job. So it's everybody knew he was going to be a star, and it just timing worked out. So
I think part of my reservation too was, I think just because, coming from Brom, I wanted, in my mind, I wanted someone who was going to have an explosive offense. I love good defense and stuff, but, kind of in the modern age of college football, I'd much rather watch a, 47-42 game than a 17-16 game, which we were accustomed to seeing sometimes in the Big Ten with whether it be Illinois or Iowa or whoever it may be. But at the end of the day, if we win, that's really all I ever care. I remember going back to the Brom hire. I was I don't care if we give up 42 points as long as we score at least 43 points, sort of thing. With Brom, it was all offense, no defense. And his first year, he proved that he did wonders with the defense with Nick Holt and all of them. So, again, going back to what I said, I think the offensive coordinator hire is going to be a huge one.
Yeah, we got some comments coming in here. Thad Mooney on Facebook said he's not going to know what to do at work tomorrow without a hiring speculation every 7 minutes from myself. Just try to keep you in the loop there, Thad. Just try to keep you in the loop. Hopefully we don't have to do this for a while. So,
yeah.
Andrew, did you even work the last week? I'm not even sure.
It was, yes, of course I did.
It was unbelievably stressful. Boiler Max here on YouTube said Beamer wasn't that unrealistic. His current salary is only $2 to $3 million. Kleeman and DeBoer were probably out of reach.
I'm going just off this one and not making that one, but I think the mindset, which I was listening to the Boiled Sports podcast the other day, and they made a good point, because I thought the same thing too of when I saw DeBoer's buyout was 10, 12 minutes, that's a lot, especially for a school like Purdue, who's, not just out to blow money just because, but I was Probably a good point. You could spend that. You could get a Drew Brees. You could get a Kevin someone to donate. Maybe not Kevin someone because he was trying to get the job, but someone like that caliber to donate the money. You can add that onto the back of his contract as a buyout. It's okay if you're gonna. This is exactly what they said. It was like if it's $15 million, his first 5 years, his buyout's $15 million on that. So it's like you're gonna get your money back regardless at some point. Most likely, unless you fire him, then you're out. But I'm not sure the buyout was. I hope it wasn't a big deterrent. I think it heard more. I mean, DeBoer had only been there, a year? I'm not sure if it was ever came out that we actually truly talked to him or offered him, but
it probably was just a call and he says thanks, but no thanks. And
kind of like Brom in 2018. Like he only been here for 2 years when the right time. Kind of same thing could be with DeBoer. Like he just got there. They're going to an incredible bowl. They had an incredible season. They're getting their quarterback back who could be a Heisman finalist next year. Like he had a lot to leave behind.
Yeah, and with the playoff coming up soon, you win 10 games at Washington, Pac-12, you're in probably. So
yeah.
A few more comments here from Carl on YouTube. Said Jeff Brom coached 70 games. That is 4th place all time at Purdue. That amazes me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
6 years and 4 bowl games, and then plus the Big Ten championship game. So.
And one of those seasons was COVID, so you can really kind of throw that one out.
Not too many coaches made it to 6 years in Purdue's history.
Chris, how fast it went too.
Chris here on YouTube said, "How fun was that 8,000 plus thread on Knucklehead Central? Though that was pretty entertaining."
It was fun until you did look at it for 3 hours and you had like 80 pages to rifle through. It's like I
shocked it didn't get shut down.
Yeah,
I think there was a few people that got blocked, but I was surprised a lot more 100%. Didn't get blocked that did.
Yeah, that was like I remember I'd look at him like I have 40 pages I have to go through. Thank God Andrew sending some screenshots. I was like I get the highlights because I'm just a lot of this is just.
But that guy was full of crap. So
yeah, just a lot of it was fun.
Of course,
it is amazing. It's amazing the details he came up with though.
Oh
yeah, but some of those guys made themselves already knucklehead legends on the On3 site.
Oh, yeah.
So
I mean the fact that I remember going back to I know me personally, I know Andrew too. We're kind of newer to the knucklehead board, and just we joined after we beat Ohio State in 2018. But like these 1,000 post vigils to get Trey Kaufman ran or try and get Nigel Pack. Like I feel like that took days to get, and in day one we were at 2,500 posts on one thread. Granted, it helps when you can join for $1 at this point, which is
right.
Creates a lot
of.
So
how many? That's what I was curious. How many of those people were one person but had 5 profiles because it was $5?
Yep.
Having a conversation with themselves. Yeah.
How many were IU trolls that joined for just $1 just to throw some rumors out there? Chris said he knew it was BS all along, but it was fun to speculate. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's at first it was kind of there's no way, but then everyone kind of jumps on it,
kind of bought in because they didn't want to believe Tom's list.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
What if this is true? Then this would be incredible. And then, as fun as that is, when it doesn't happen, that's when you get the people calling for Babinski's job already before.
Yeah.
He's been the coach for a day.
Boilermax has a couple good comments here. This one's for you, Andrew.
You can hear that? He's struggling. I didn't think you could hear that. Wow.
It's all good. It's all good. He's not too pleased with the coaching hire maybe today.
He wants to participate in the conversation. He wants to give his thoughts.
There we go. Boilermax, good thought here. Good point. He said Kansas State and Washington have clear paths to the college football playoff at this point because of their in-weaker conferences. They're top dogs once Oklahoma, Texas, USC, and UCLA leave, which Oklahoma and Texas are trying to move that date up to join the SEC from 2025 to 2024 now. So, yeah, we're going to see things shift quite drastically in 2 years.
Yeah.
Chris said, especially when the Peyton Breeze speculation started coming up.
Yeah, that was
stupid.
It kind of scared me, honestly. I was a little scared about that one.
I guess never say never, but I was 99% sure Sean Payton was going to be on any college sideline.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of NFL jobs open, and wanting to trade the Saints first-round pick for him.
I thought the same thing, but I was like, but Breeze can be a hell of a salesman. I'm sure he could talk him into it, especially as close as they are. It's what
Sean
if I was
Payton's rusty. He needs a little bit to get back into it. 1 year, Breeze is his offensive coordinator. It could happen.
Well, I'm glad you brought offensive coordinator up though, because the Boilermax here on YouTube and a lot of people on Twitter, we asked for comments and questions. A lot of people wanted to know about the next offensive coordinator. Boilermax says offensive coordinator hire is key. It'll be interesting to see who we get through the portal too, or who he gets through the portal.
Mm-hmm.
Are you surprised there wasn't more? I mean, obviously there were, I think, 5 recruits that decommitted that were Southern Kentucky. I know there were a couple of defensive ends from Kentucky, and then the running back. I think one was Ohio. I think they both did, and then one was like Georgia. That I think it even came out that they were probably going to be tougher holds even if Brown had stayed. But are you surprised? I think other than one Spencer Holsted, that was the only portal entry that I'm aware of that I remember. So are you surprised there haven't been the last week and a half that this has been going on? It seems like weeks.
Yeah, I thought we'd lose more. And maybe we'll still lose a couple, I'm sure. But a lot of the guys everybody was worried about, the Brady Allens, Devin Mockabee,
Nick
Carraway's, they've pledged their support for Ryan Walters, which is great.
Yeah, especially after yesterday's news where Hagan was gone. That's when I got worried. Cause when he hadn't announced, he was okay. Maybe that's a good sign. Maybe he's going to stay on, which I'm sure. I mean, it was kind of reported that I think he wanted to stay at Purdue, but I mean, I get it. Jeff definitely had the upper hand there because he could offer something where Purdue was kind of like, well, let's just stay, but we don't really know. Given the coach and all that stuff, like he wants to bring his guy and. So
yeah, he couldn't wait forever for an answer.
Yeah, which I get.
And then whoever he brought, then he's kind of like, well, is it even someone I want to work with? So
right. And so when he left, I was like, oh boy, that's when I had the nightmare of like Carraway, Strickland, all these guys just defecting down I-65 to Louisville. But I mean, I'm kudos to those guys for. I mean, I think it also helps too with some of these guys. They're Indiana guys, so they maybe have some ties.
Carraway was Texas, right?
Yeah,
he came
Texas,
specifically because Hagan recruited him. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Strickland, his mom went to Purdue. When Breeze was there, so he's got some connection there. But still, I think that also helps with some of these commitments for 2023. That we have the guys from Carmel, the Westfield kids. So I think that'll help retain at least this class to at least get some guys in the door. But yeah, I was surprised we didn't have as many. We didn't have as many as I thought we would have, especially right away.
Chris here, another good point, and one that's really starting to get to me a little bit here. He says, sounds like there's going to be some academic casualties. Brahman, the lack of discipline strikes one last time. Yeah, it sounds like we don't know the number. It sounds like quite a few guys, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
How much of that is speculation still, like the Shane Beamer rumors, or is that actually coming from?
I mean, Tom said. I think Tom.
Okay.
It says something about there's going to be some. Well, again, he says like there's a lot of speculation that we're going to have some. And it's like all on defense too, which is great. But yeah, that's. I mean, we kind of talked about in our last pod, Tan, about I don't really have hard feelings for Brom at all. I get what he did, and it was in his mind the right time. But yeah, kind of going to. I think Brian Newbert did a good article today about as good as we were, there was a lot of, as we saw this year, again, like the Syracuse game, even the Penn State game, where discipline was not what it could be. And I think just kind of reading what we have about Walsh, I think that could definitely take it up a notch. And hopefully, again, goes back to the classroom too. And because Brown won't have to worry about academic issues in Louisville. We'll just say that.
No, not at all.
Kind of going, do you think that swayed Babinski to go to a guy toward like Walter? So, I mean, someone that we talked a lot about the last week, like Jamarcus Shepard, similar, same age, up and coming coordinator. I don't think he's ever really called plays or been like an official coordinator. Like that's been the main difference. I think is Walters has been a defensive coordinator for 4 years, maybe. I think he was at Missouri for a few years and then Illinois. So versus Shepard has only been a co-offensive coordinator, passing game coordinator, or something. That's the only experience. And I remember we were talking about it, like if we're going to hire a coordinator, it's like, okay, I'd go with Shepard because we all really like Shepard and know his personality. But obviously Walter seems like he's going to be, disciplined. So bringing that more, just the discipline that may have been lacking.
Leader of men. I think Bobinski even was quoted saying that too. Boiler Max said Walters is 36. Notable coaches under 40 who did well this year: Dan Lanning, Oregon; Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame; and Eli Drinkwitz at Missouri. Yep. It
Marcus
can be
had
done.
a rough start, but he definitely he got it going.
He got him to 8-4, which a lot of people predicted 8-4, 9-3 at start season. They just didn't think they'd lose to Marshall at home and Stanford at home. Yeah, but he got them going. So, and it might be tough sledding for Ryan next year at Purdue. It's a tougher schedule. No cupcake games, even in the non-conference. You open up with the Mountain West champs of Fresno State, then you go to Virginia Tech, then you host Syracuse. You also have Ohio State at home on the schedule and at Michigan. So it's going to be tough sledding.
On top of that, it appears a complete roster turnover for them. Like new quarterback. It's a Portal or Alamo or Allen.
Yep.
You lose your best
wide
receiver.
0 starts between the two of them.
Yeah, you have your
and
best
about
wide
10
receiver
passes
gone.
thrown.
Yeah, and your best receiver coming back is coming as a guy who will be coming off of knee surgery and missing essentially an entire year if he's even healthy. I hope Brock's healthy. So it's definitely going to be – it could be what you might anticipate, maybe almost what we thought like the first year of Brock might be, but before he kind of surprised us. But, yeah.
And that's what just like just something. Like even like that first year with Brown where we had very low expectations, and then the first game was Lucas Oil, Louisville, and
competitive.
I was like, this was Lamar Jackson. Was he coming off the Heisman at that point?
Yeah.
Or
yes, he was.
Like, oh god, he's gonna torch him, and
yeah.
So, like I said on Twitter, a lot of questions about people want to know who we think the next OC could be. Evan, your dad was wondering if it could be Drew Brees. Some people, Jamarcus Shepard questions. One question, how about Leonard for defensive coordinator? Thoughts on that? Some people wondering if Hagan could still be swayed to come back. Thoughts on those?
Coordinator.
Hold that hope. Sorry, go ahead, buddy.
I'm probably going to say what you're going to say. I'm holding out hope that Jamarcus can be the offensive coordinator. Or
I was going to say Hagan, actually. I was like, I'm hoping that Hagan could be like, Brown, never mind. I like this guy. I'm coming back.
Is the contract signed is the big question.
He's got his buyout's probably like $100K. Like Purdue will float that. Walters will pay that if he wants.
Is it a verbal commit or is he signed a letter of intent? That's the real question.
Hasn't been approved by the board, probably. Like Walter's contract technically hasn't been approved by the board.
Yeah, the contract details will come out tomorrow. The noon press conference, introductory press conference. So I'm anxious to see what it's reported it's going to be a 5-year deal. I'm anxious to see what the salary is. Anxious to see what the assistant salary pool is. I think that's going to be key.
I think, with him being a new coach, you've got to think we're going to go lower. Probably, we're not going to obviously be paying him 5.5 what Braun was making or whatever it was. Right. So I would probably guess maybe somewhere in the 3 range.
What Braun started at when he came over from Western Kentucky?
What is like 3.5?
I thought 4? It was because what Hazel was 2. Because I thought at the time that was like a huge deal for Purdue to be paying a football coach $2 million. I thought Braun was around 3, so maybe he could be up in that 4 range. But I feel like if whatever money you're not paying him, you could put into the.
Jeff's was a little over 3 on December 16th, 2016. Base salary of $300,000 and a $3,033,333 million supplement stipend annually.
Okay, yeah, I think we're probably going to see something similar. Probably, I'd say 3.5 to 4 if I had to guess. But I think that whatever you don't give him, you put in that the assistant salary pool immediately.
Well, and it'll be interesting if he'll call the defensive plays. He might have a defense coordinator, but he might call the defense plays. I don't know. It'll be interesting. Boilermax said just build towards 2024. We get Notre Dame at home. It's always one to circle on your calendars.
Absolutely.
But besides Jamarcus Shepard, is there any guys out there? I kind of looked at Walter's past. Didn't see any names that jumped off the page to me. That was mostly from his days at Missouri, Illinois. He was cornerbacks coach at Memphis in 2014, cornerbacks coach at North Texas 2013, graduate assistant cornerbacks coach at Oklahoma in 2012. He was a graduate assistant at Arizona for 2 years. And then, of course, he played at Colorado and was also a student assistant there for 1 year. But didn't see really any names that jumped out, but wouldn't be shocked if he grabbed some former guys he worked with, of course. And Illinois fans seem to think that he's going to bring 1 or 2 coaches over from their staff.
I saw the defensive line coach.
Jameson. Terrence
assuming
Jameson
Hagan doesn't come back. Yeah, Jameson, who was at Purdue in
for a year.
19. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I remember, did he come from Wisconsin or
I thought he came from
Air Force?
Air Force. Yeah,
I
think
thought
Air
he was
Force.
like he
I
played at
forgot
Wisconsin.
about that.
I thought he
Yeah.
had a connection to Wisconsin. But I remember I think the Golden Black staff talked highly of him, that he was a good up and coming coach too. So
Yeah,
kind of was assuming that he might come back.
In regards to Leonard, I don't think Leonard's coming for a defense. I don't think he's taking a defensive coordinator job anywhere. That's not the NFL.
The Packers, yeah.
Yeah. I think he's either looking for a head coaching job or a coordinator job in the NFL. I think he's gotten the taste of it. I mean, he maybe thinks he got a raw deal. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to not argue with the Luke. I mean, Luke Fickle hire was incredible, as much as I hate it. But I think, I don't see him. I think if we were to see him, it was going to be a head coach for us.
no way Brian Brom stays, right?
I'm kind of warming up to the idea.
I guess.
No, I wouldn't be. I mean, I could see how it'd be weird, but also like if he's trying to break away and start his own journey. I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed. I guess we'll kind of see. Maybe TBD after the bowl game against LSU and see what kind of game plans he got together. Granted, it'll be with a skeleton crew of staff and potentially players.
And Drew Brees.
Drew Brees. I don't think I want Drew Brees as a coordinator.
No, I don't see him committing to something like that at this time.
I would. I mean, maybe like a consultant of some kind. Come in. Maybe help out with some film. Come in. Do some work with the guys. But as like an actual like paid staffer for one, honestly, I want him for the NIL. I want him to be pumping the Boilermaker line and doing all that stuff. Doing what he does best, which is he loves Purdue and he loves to promote Purdue, and so I'd say keep him doing that. As cool as it would be, but as we see a lot with legends taking a role in their alma mater, if it doesn't go well, it's not good for anybody, and it really kind of tarnishes the legacy and the relationship. So I'd like to see him stay away from the staff. I know he's going to obviously do stuff with the bowl, which I think is kind of cool. I mean, now that bowls don't really matter, I think I hope we kind of see more of that, especially with these coaches leaving right away and all that. Like maybe have some, alma mater celebrity coaches to kind of help out. Usually for games that, like I said, don't matter anymore. But I wouldn't, going back to Brian, I wouldn't be opposed. But I don't see it happening.
I don't either, especially since Jeff's already been open to the Louisville media that he's coming down. And it is just kind of weird to me still that all these Louisville coaches or soon-to-be Louisville coaches are coaching Purdue. But I think Jeff Brom wanted to give Purdue a chance to at least be competitive in this game, and he probably did Bobinski a favor. But it's still just odd to me. I mean, you're giving these guys a couple weeks. Now you do have your new head coach on campus. Yeah. That's going to be overseeing things and watching and scouting the team as they get ready for their bowl prep. But it's still weird to me. You're giving these coaches that are going to be gone here in a few weeks a few more weeks to potentially talk these players into going south.
Did you see someone posted like why doesn't which I kind of was, and they're all like just get out, like you said, and then there was someone that suggested like go with like your legends, like okay, so Drew Brees, Roosevelt Colvin,
right, Mike Allstott,
like throw out like Rod Woodson, like throw them out there, whatever. It'd be terrible, like
it'd be hilarious. I mean, it'd be enjoyable, but Brian,
let Aiden O'Connell be a player coach.
Yeah, might as well. He knows the office pretty well. Boiler Max says Casey Woods at SMU. I believe that's a defensive backs coach. I have heard his name come up a little bit as a potential hire. Boiler Max also said, I'm sure Joe Moorhead would like to get the hell out of Akron. Yeah, I don't think he's enjoying his time over there as head coach at Akron. He was supposedly the backup plan when Brom was the hire in 2016 when he was the offensive coordinator at Penn State. And then he got a kind of rough deal at Mississippi State, 2 years, and they canned him. Speaking of Mississippi State, prayers to Mike Leach's family. That's an awful ordeal and a huge loss for the sports world and the college football world. You're never going to find a coach funnier than that guy. He was one of a kind.
And it was a cool thing. There's going to be a downer, but I didn't remember seeing this. But when Tiller died, he had posted a picture of like a cardboard cutout of Tiller, which when he was the coach at Washington State, and I forgot Tiller was a Washington State alum or had some ties to it, but that was pretty cool. But yeah, that was Leach was, and at the time, like I think when before we got Braum, that was kind of like a pie in the sky type of hire, with air raid offense and all that. That'd have been really cool. But yeah, it's sad because he was, they said, one of a kind, as I keep saying. Like, there was nobody in the sport, even in the NFL, that were close to Mike Leach, and it's a huge loss. And there was a really touching interview, I think, with Lane Kiffin on ESPN, where he was like saying how, because they were, SEC media days were hilarious with those two. They're always giving each other crap, and Kiffin was talking about how it's maybe sort of more for the fans in terms of the hatred of rivalries, because you can have a rivalry with schools and still love each other and just want to compete, which is what Ole Miss and Mississippi State had with those two coaches. So yeah, it really sucks.
Yeah, it does. Eric here on YouTube says, does Ryan have a known motto? I really don't want to hear play hard, chop wood, or row the boat type of crap.
I think someone, again, on the board who claimed that they knew someone that's like a former player from Illinois, said that he kind of is the opposite of PJ Fleck. I think he is not the rah type like that about, I don't know, all about me kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm sure if he has one, that Purdue will print some T-shirts. That's for sure. Let's see here. Chris on YouTube also saying Casey Woods has a connection with Walters. Boiler Max wondering what the connection is. I just Googled that. It looks like he was the tight end coach at Missouri in 2020 and 2021. And excuse me, he's not the defensive backs coach at SMU. He's the offensive coordinator. I was way off. That makes more sense. I was seeing the tight ends at Missouri. I'm like, that's weird. Tight ends and defensive backs. But,
I think the defensive back coach from Illinois was the one that I think is speculated is going to come over with Walters.
You're right, Andrew. Yep, that's exactly. Yep.
God, because that's we have a good friend who's a bandwagon Illinois football fan, so he says, but he's an Illinois fan through and through.
Yes, he is.
He was saying how in terms of this hire, he was saying that Walters took essentially a bunch of Lovie Smith recruits that were 2-star guys and turned them into Witherspoon's, and he's going to be probably a first-round draft pick. Is he mocked for that, or he can be high?
I think he's mocked for first or second round, but our receivers had a heyday with him, making him have penalties when we played him.
Yeah, but it's like I think about that. I was like, man, I wish he had like a year or two at Trice just to see what he could. I mean, Trice was already good, and I think Trice will play in the NFL. But like, man, I'd love to see.
Not playing in the bowl game.
No, he's not.
I get it. We'll see if Charlie Jones does. I don't know. I'm a little doubtful there. Got a few other good questions on Twitter here. Fort Wayne's own ex-Boilermaker Walter Jordan put in some good questions here. He wanted to know about the staff, offense philosophy, recruiting, transfer portal, and NIL. So he kind of covered all bases here.
Good thing we're experts.
Yeah.
I haven't paid any attention to the transfer portal as far as I just know that Purdue's only had one offensive lineman and nobody else, and I haven't paid attention to what other teams have had lost guys. I know the Western Kentucky quarterback is going back to Western Kentucky.
Yes.
He was in the portal for a few days, but now he's staying.
There's a lot of quarterbacks out there, though, if they want to go that route, if they don't want to roll the dice with Limo or Brady Allen. There's a lot of quarterbacks out. NC State's quarterback, I believe, is ranked kind of number one in the portal, but Virginia's quarterback's number two, which if anybody wants to play for Virginia, and rightfully so, good move by the NCAA, every player gets an extra year on Virginia for the horrible, tragic incidents that happened on that campus a few weeks ago. But there's a lot of good players out there. I mean, Alabama's had guys enter the portal. I mean, you name it, the programs have been hit by the portal. So it'll be interesting. You got to think, I mean, he has a week until early signing day. So he's got to get out there and make sure the rest of the recruiting class stays put. Try to get some guys in the portal for the next month or so. Try to keep the Purdue players at bay without leaving, going anywhere. He's got a lot of work to do. He's got to hit the ground, not only running, but sprinting. Starting tomorrow with that press conference at noon, and then get on the road. So, he's got a lot of work to do.
He's young. He can handle it.
Boiler Max, what would we take Derek Dooley? He was the OC at Mizzou when Walters was DC there. It's a name from the past.
Where's he at? Is he working anywhere right now, or?
He is with Alabama, I believe. He's the
analyst or some QB analyst or something.
I almost said quarterback coach, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like QB.
That's where a lot of the retreads go. Is Alabama win with Saban, and then get get another look somewhere
Speaking
else.
of, there were all the Bill O'Brien rumors, but like that was that back to that speculation. I was getting a little
I
worried.
like that. Yeah.
I wouldn't have hated it, but the thing that scared me was if any success, he's jumping. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it would have been like, I don't think it would have lasted 3 years.
right. So he's not the nicest guy either, but
No. But I mean, going back to,
Walter's question here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know much. I mean, there was a thing, our friend had said, he didn't seem to be the best recruiter. And obviously that can change.
But then I've seen some national recruiting websites say that he can broaden Purdue's recruiting ceiling to a national spectrum. So
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's all kind of, hearsay or whatever. But, that's again going back to.
He's only 36 years old. Like, how can you classify him? Like, I don't know. How do you really know if he's a good recruiter or not? I mean, he's only been coaching for 10 years, and the first half of that was working his way up in the position coach. And so, recruiter, like what we just talked about. I mean, like, yeah, the people that his eye for talent and developing is a big part of it too, is knowing who's seeing that potential. But I don't know. I think he'll be fine recruiting wise.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to the whole thing about coordinators. That's getting those hires right to where guys who love to recruit and love to get out on the road and talk to kids. I think that's going to be the big thing on those, as much as it is schematics in terms of the game plan.
Thad Mooney said to work in lovely slogans and hitting the ground running for the incoming staff. A throwback to the Tiller days, full steam ahead. That was a good one. That was one of their better ones. Yeah, full steam ahead podcast. That was one of their better slogans. I will say one of their. I miss those season posters. That Purdue does a good job now, but I feel like everybody used to get real creative with those things.
Mm-hmm.
NIL, I'm not
back to Jumbo Heroes. Speaking of that, can we bring back to Jumbo Heroes?
Sure, why not?
Those were the best.
NIL, I'm not sure. Purdue's got the Boilermaker Alliance. Big Ten money's coming in. I know that's not real NIL related, but I'm not sure. I don't have a good.
I mean, he's a young guy, so I feel like it's not like he's a true players coach. So I feel like just from what we've heard so far, even just the video of him giving Mockabee the scholarship, I mean, the fact that's his first thing he does, like.
Was that literally his first time? You think seeing the team like that was what he did? He didn't even say like, "Hey guys," it was literally like, "Where's Devin?"
I bet there was some talk to, and then they cut to that part. But
yeah.
Thad Moody says hashtag bring back Rowdy.
No kidding. Absolutely. I think, with him being young, I feel like and being a player, so I think he'll definitely lean into the NIL. I mean, you have to. Yep. I mean, you can't. That if you don't, then you're going to die.
And that's what I don't know how much of that is on him versus Purdue sports administration, the administrative team setting that up. Like, I don't think like he has to worry about that. I'm sure he has people that do that, and then that's where he.
But he could be the one.
He's got good relationships. Yeah, but he's got to have the relationships with Roosevelt Colvin and Rod Woodson and Drew Brees, the guys that are going to help also raise that money and yes, donate, but also be a name to raise money.
Yeah.
Jared Justilitis has a good question here. Jared of 101.7 The Hammer. Compare Walter's coaching style to some other more well-known coaches.
Great question.
It is a good question.
Wish I had a good answer for
it. I will say they were Illinois defense was very aggressive, and I didn't like it other than about the 8 pass interference calls they got against Purdue a couple months ago. I think I saw a report that he pretty much is going to play man-to-man defense like Matt Painter. That was what the joke was. I saw this afternoon.
No zone.
Man.
Yeah, no zone.
Yeah.
How are we going to get to press? Are we going to press or are we not going to press? Because we don't really.
Yeah. One guy can press. He can just one guy on the line. Everybody else can back up.
It's a good question though, because this is something that's hard for us three to really cover because we've never seen a Purdue defensive-minded head coach hired in our lifetime. The last time Purdue hired a defensive-minded head coach was Leon Burnett, and that unfortunately didn't work out very well.
Joe Tiller was the Purdue defensive coordinator in the 80s, which I had no idea.
I had no idea.
I knew he was on the staff. I couldn't told you what he did.
He went from. Could you imagine, speaking of going from a defensive coordinator and then being hired the next year as an offensive coordinator at a different
at
school?
Washington State, where he offense coordinator
Yeah.
for Drew Bledsoe, I believe.
But if Purdue did that, if Purdue hires Mark Hagan as an offensive coordinator tomorrow, there'd be mutiny.
Yeah, that wouldn't work out well. Probably not. It was interesting. I was talking to my dad today during my lunch hour about the hire, and we were talking about how a lot of the fan base seemed upset, and he said, well, I think we could have hired Ryan Day, and some of our fans would have been upset, and he said he couldn't imagine if social media was around when Gene Cady was hired from Western Kentucky. He said
That's true.
after going to a Final Four with Lee Rose and hired Gene Cady, he said, or even Matt Painter, when Matt Painter was hired, even though a lot wanted him, but he said even then people would have complained. So
I didn't know what the reaction was when they hired Painter, because
I remember there was I remember this one thing vividly because we were young. We were in middle school when it happened. I remember watching something on the news when he was announced or whatever, and they had interviewed some fans who were at the press conference, and everybody kept saying it's gonna be good for recruiting, and I was like, that's when I was kind of starting to realize what recruiting was, and then lo and behold, we get Robbie Hummel, Juwan Johnson, each one more, Scott Martin. So I guess they were right.
They probably also said his suits are too big or something. Back then in 06, 07, his suits looked pretty goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah, really the first coaching I kind of remember a little bit of the Danny Hope search, but I just remember being more shocked that they chose Danny Hope over Brock Spack. And I know Paul Chryst was in the mix too before he went to Pittsburgh. But besides that, we were in high school. I wasn't following it too closely yet. But then I do remember the Hazel coach.
I remember with that being kind of excited because we're doing exactly what Katie did with Painter, where we brought him in for a year, let him, be on staff while Tiller finishes out his last year. I was like, it's going to work for Painter. It's going to work for Danny. Didn't really work for Danny.
Not so much.
Didn't we talk about this about 8 years ago, Tanner? 10 years ago. Tanner probably has a tweet out there somewhere about Daryl Hazel being hired.
Oh, I know. I was excited. That would have been 9 years ago.
I was thrilled.
Yeah, 2 years.
That's the most fun I've been of a coaching search I remember.
Yeah, I think I was actually more pumped initially for him than I was Jeff Brom. So
that's why today you're paying somebody $2 million. I was like, oh, okay, we're stepping up. We're in the big boy leagues now, and then lo and behold, a couple years later.
Today, I will say Ryan Walters wasn't my number one choice. Wasn't who I was expecting. But I let it simmer a little bit before I let my thoughts out. And then the more as today went on, I'm like, I'm actually okay with this. He's going to bring some juice, and it all comes down to what OC hires in the staff.
Babinski's a pro at this. That's kind of there's all people calling for Babinski, and especially with the whole thing of it's been a week. I guess it's been a week since Satterfield left. Essentially a week since we lost Bronx. We all know exactly what happened as soon as that was going to happen. To then not having a coach for a couple days. Meanwhile, Brian Brom and potentially Hagan are going to be going to Louisville, but they're coaching our team for 3 more weeks. People were definitely getting on about how Brom pulled the wool over his eyes or whatever. But I think towards the end, it was just we had to just trust him because he's done this before at multiple levels. So I think we definitely need to just trust in Babinski.
I don't know if Thad Mooney's a genius or if he's just used this and is trying to make himself look smart. But an hour ago, Purdue put a picture of Walters in the stadium with the motto "Full Steam Ahead." So, yeah.
Thank God. Hey, we talked about our Let's Play Football shirts are in the trash, right? The shop needs to come out with some Full Steam Ahead shirts.
I'm just looking at Twitter. There's a lot of praise from the media out there. A guy named Cole Thompson, who is a NFL and college football reporter, Big 12, SEC, Texas at Fan Nation. He said Ryan Walters will end up being one of, if not the all-capitalized best head coaching hire of the offseason. His physical style of coaching transformed Illinois' defense from bottom dweller in the Big Ten to top unit nationally. Purdue is trending upward in not just the conference, but in college football.
Damn.
Yeah, I'll take it.
That guy's he's getting run out of Knucklehead Central right now. This guy's
Someone's already tweeting old takes exposed or something after we go 5-7
next Fresno State or something.
Yeah. Well, what's Purdue has not had back-to-back winning coaches since the 30s. which
Yeah,
is.
it's been a while.
I mean, like, when's the last time we had a coach that left? I think we talked about this, Tanner, on the podcast last week. When's the last time we had one that left on their own?
I think it was. I could be mistaken. I think it was Jim Young. I think he left and went to Army. I think.
Yeah.
Well, I think so. What was it with Tiller? Like Purdue had only been to like 10 bowl games in like history or something like that before Tiller, and then Tiller rattles off all of them in a row, and
it goes 10 out of 12 years.
Yeah. So then.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a whole lot of success before 2000.
No. Pull up Boilerback's comment there.
All right. The one from earlier here from. Okay.
Yeah.
Can Brom take shout with him as part of a parting gift?
Of God, take it.
What's wrong with it?
It's run its course. Its course.
Well, I think part of it too is because, like, when did it start? Like, was it the Hope era, or did it start with Hayes? It had to have been Hope.
No, it was at least Hope. It might have been. It might have been Tiller. I know it definitely was Hope because I know Tiller came back and did it at a night game when Hope was coach.
Do they still bring out like the alumni or notable people?
Yeah, but now they stand on the field instead of the press box, which was cool when they did it in the press box.
Jay Nivey did it for the Penn State, which was cool because it was night game and all that. But I used to do it in the press box.
Yeah, they'd hang up the side.
See who it was. Yeah, because I think Hummel did it one year or something. But
I do remember they were like, "Oh, I saw Drew Brees walking around Slater Hill or something."
But I just remember just like being a student during the Hazel years, and like there's 3,000 people there at the start of the fourth quarter. They're trying to do shout, and it's like the opposing team is dancing because they're up 48-7. It's just,
and then it went from 3,000 to 1,000 because those people were just waiting for shout, and then they're like, now we're peacing out. So Bree Shackelford from WLFI. So local CBS affiliate there in Lafayette said Ryan Walters is already reaching out to 2023 commits and starting to make personal connections. That, all caps, is the type of coach Purdue football is getting.
I hope to God he'd be doing that. Like, to be honest.
And some more staff updates from Tom Dienhart of Golden Black. Tight end coach Ryan Wallace has left to join Jeff Brom's staff in Louisville. Assistant director of recruiting Justin Sins will coach tight ends in Purdue's bowl game for LSU. Wallace joins Chris Barclay, Ron English, and Garrick McGee leaving for Louisville right away.
Can you take Dale? Sorry, did I say that out loud?
Dale is going, so.
Is it? I never thought that was official. I thought there was a rumor.
I thought he was going. Oh.
I think it was a rumor.
But you just listed off all the coaches. He wasn't one of them.
Yeah.
Well, those are the ones that are there now. They're like Hagan, Brom, a few others are going to coach through the bowl game, then go. So
I think on the list, I think that originally they put out like a week ago was.
I thought he was on there.
He was, but I thought that was more of like a speculation. Excuse me.
Thad Mooney talking about Joe Tiller. Tiller's first 15 years of coaching, he was on the defense side of the ball with various positions and defense coordinator. And Thad is also saying, I guess he's guessing he is a genius for saying full steam ahead earlier. So,
yeah. So you had that sign made already, Thad? Get working on it.
Yeah. So. But no, I feel pretty good about it. I mean, time's going to tell. I'm at least going to give the guy a chance. I always do that with my sports teams. I mean, these hires might not be my number one choice. More times than not, they're not my number one choice.
Are you doing that this year with the Broncos with Hackett or?
Oh, he's gone. He's gone. I don't care that they came back down 27, almost beat the Chiefs. He's gone. I think he knows he's gone. But which I don't like one and done coaches, but. It's the NFL. There's no patience, especially when you're spending $250 million on a quarterback. I could do a whole podcast on that. I'm going to stop. But anyways, so more times than not, I'm not going to get on their case until they start losing games, and in college, losing games for multiple years. Then I'm like, okay, but. You got to give them a chance. I mean, come on. That was frustrating me today about Purdue's fan base. So many people saying, well, I'm calling the job Purdue Club tomorrow and getting rid of my tickets and blah, blah, blah. Okay, do it. That opens up the seat for somebody who wants to go to the games because, I mean, what are you going to do about it? He is our football coach. Back the guy. I mean. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember the fan base was at an all-time low when Hazel, but before Braun was just like, I mean, anybody would have, sparked hopefully some excitement. So yeah, it's tough.
Which I think actually kind of back to that. I think I felt the same way when Braun was hired because I was kind of like, oh, great. We're gonna score 50 points, but we're gonna give up 48 points or something because that's what they were doing at Western Kentucky. And then I think it was announced at noon. I was like, whatever. And then by the end of the day, I was like, okay, this is gonna be nice. Okay, I'm on board with this. It's pretty much how it went today.
Andrew Thad's saying order to sign right now. We'll start cutting it up and drop it off Friday when he heads up north. So if everybody out there doesn't know Thad Mooney, loyal viewer, listener of the podcast, and a good friend of the podcast, he owns a company, Mooney Woodcrafts, and makes custom woodcraft signs. So, and I used to have it. I need to get it back up on my wall here. Boiler, he made one for the Boiler Breakdown. So,
You put that sponsorship bill in the mail, Tanner, for Thad there.
yeah, yep, no free ads, Thad. Brian on Facebook, any Illinois recruits you feel he may pull?
That's a good question. I meant to pull up their recruiting class.
No, there's a couple of good defensive backs, even for 20. What would that be? Recruiting class of 23 or 24 the
23
following
this year, 24 next year. Yeah.
Yeah, it confused me with the early signing day now if they're 2022 or 2023 or what do you call it? But yeah, it would be 2023.
He's got a 4-star safety committed from West Orange, New Jersey.
Yeah, but so he's from where's Walter? He went to play at Colorado, but where's he from? California or something? He was at West Coast, wasn't he? So he doesn't have any ties. Where's Walter from?
Played at Colorado. He's from Colorado. He's from Aurora, Colorado.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking West Coast. Yeah, like California or something.
Yeah, because I did
so he
see
doesn't have much ties to the Midwest other than his time at Missouri. And
he was a finalist for the Colorado job before Dion popped his head up out there, and which I had a good friend of ours text me and go, if Dion struggles at Colorado, that if Walters does well, he's just going to leave us for Colorado. I said, if Dion struggles at Colorado, nobody's ever going to win at Colorado.
No.
With the amount of talent he's going to get.
And again, too, I mean, I think there was a room. I don't know if it was ever officially reported there. I saw something about like how he was a finalist for it, but he actually turned them down because he wanted to be in the Big Ten. Yeah. I get. We just went through it obviously with Brown and Lou, but I was like, I feel like going to Colorado would be not great because again, going back to the Big Ten, the expansion, like Colorado is not on anyone's radar to scoop them up and bring them into another conference. And for football, for basketball, I don't know what they're good at. I mean, beautiful campus. That's all I know about them. But
except their basketball, Todd Boyle, all of a sudden he's got like 2 5-stars coming in next year. Yeah. Or maybe a 5 and a 4, but something like it kind of raised my eyebrows. Like, whoa, like, where's that coming from? But you're right; it's a beautiful campus. I can see why people would want to go out there, but no. And Dion, Colorado's not a college sports state by any means.
No.
It's Broncos first, second, third, fourth. It doesn't matter what. Like right now, if they're 3-10, that's the main team, and that's including the Avalanche, who are the defending Stanley Cup champs. So. Boiler Max right here. Good question here. And go back to Brian's question. I figure he's going to try to pull some Illinois recruits. I'm not sure.
I think we'll get as we've already seen with Purdue, like we've lost a couple guys to Louisville. I think we'll see a couple. I don't expect a ton, but I think we'll get probably 1 or 2, like you usually see with the coaching change, especially if they were tied mostly to that coach. Especially with him being a D coordinator, I see mostly probably defensive side of the ball coming to Purdue versus offense.
I'm kind of thinking, not as much on the high school. How many of the Illinois guys that are going to go in the portal that'll want to follow him?
It's very true.
Coming from that good defense.
Boiler Max here says he thinks next year will be the first time since before Brom that we opened the season with a quarterback with no prior start. Correct him if he's wrong. Sindelar, and he just corrected himself. Sindelar in 2017 in Brom's first game. Sindelar not started prior to that. True. But yeah, because we went through Sindelar, and then Sindelar started in 2018, even though Blau played a majority of the year. Sindelar started in 2019. 2020 was Aiden. And then 2021 was Plummer, and then this year was Aiden. Yeah. So, But I was thinking about that. That's a good point, though. I was thinking about quarterbacks under Brom. I mean, he inherited Blau and Sindelar from Hazel.
Never got to really. I mean, I guess O'Connell was his quarterback during his time. I guess Plummer. Yeah. I mean, he got Plummer.
Right. Didn't really work out.
Yeah. So Aiden
was a recruited to be a walk-on.
Right.
But I mean, for a guy who is known for his quarterback coaching, we never really got to see a full development. Even though, I mean, Aiden, don't get me wrong, his story is unbelievable. But I guess what I mean, a full development of a scholarship recruited quarterback.
Right, a guy who came in expecting to be a starter at some point, sophomore, junior, whatever. Like we thought Plummer was going to be. Like that was kind of his first big quarterback recruit, and obviously we hope Alamo or Brady Allen's going to be the guy, which I guess time will tell.
Yep.
This one more comment here. This is we've gone 50 minutes without even talking about the other news that came out this week about Purdue basketball being number 1 in the country.
Oh no, I was going to say that. I mean, we will probably hit that up on our next podcast. But it is amazing when you get on Purdue websites today, and we have the number 1 ranked basketball team, and it's not the first 4 headlines today.
And there's 4 different articles about Ryan Walters.
Yeah, it is pretty incredible. But
you're being ranked number 1.
I didn't think we'd see top 20 this year, let alone
number
1.
When it happened, I was like, thought we'd be lucky to crack top 25. Just not. I mean, I said it before. I was kind of looking forward to have a year of just watching, kind of like 2020. But now we've got some expectations, and it makes every game like that Saturday game incredibly stressful.
Yeah. Let's stop with those stressful games for a little bit. I forgot I even said to my fiance when we were watching, it goes on overtime, I'm like, I forgot how stressful these college basketball games can be. She goes, oh, not me. Yeah. Not me. I remember. Like,
on the road in the Big Ten,
yeah. I like these, double-digit wins over Gonzaga, Duke. But it's been a fun day on the Big Ten Network today. It's kind of been all about Purdue. They were talking about the Ryan Walters hire, and then Trent Meacham was talking up Purdue basketball and Braden Smith, giving Braden Smith some really high compliments today. And then I saw this evening there was 2 Purdue Classics on against football in Tennessee last year in the Music City Bowl, and then basketball 08 against Davidson, which wasn't really a classic game. I mean, it was a great game from Purdue's standpoint, but
yeah,
I mean Purdue got up as much as 23 in that game.
Yeah, look back of who we were playing, because I saw someone tweet, it was like Curry was still going by Stephen at the time.
Yeah.
He wasn't even known as Steph.
He was so skinny.
Oh, he was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Carl on YouTube here says there's a floor at Purdue. Darrell Hazel was 9-33, a winning percentage of .214. Ryan Walters' first season will likely be a rough one. I tend to be very patient. That's a good way to look at it.
So do you think he's? I mean, obviously through the interview process with Babinski, and he touched on it with the press conference about Purdue has the history of the offense and slinging it around.
Right.
Is Purdue going to have that? They're going to be throwing the ball 50 times a game next year?
I wouldn't say maybe not 50 times. Maybe it's a little more balanced, but I still think it's more pass first than run. I'd be surprised if it's not. But once again, it goes to who he hires as offensive coordinator. But I do think I went back and watched a little of Babinski's press conference again today, and that was interesting when he hit on that question. Made me kind of think there was my clue. He was kind of looking at a defensive-minded head coach, possibly.
Which everybody assumed was Leonard at the time.
Right, because he said, I'm not worried about that. I just want a coach who can win. That was interesting, which at the time last week when he said, I'm like, okay, he's keeping all possibilities open. But I don't think any of us really thought we were going to hire a defensive-minded head coach just because we haven't done that in so many years. But no, I think the fan base just has to be open-minded, be patient. You can turn programs around and keep success going quicker than it used to be able to now with the transfer portal. So
different. It's not as easy as basketball where you can a couple big transfers, but football,
right.
You can definitely. And who knows? I mean,
you can plug some holes.
Purdue loses a lot with Charlie Jones and O'Connell, but still, I mean, Brady Allen was highly recruited. Alamo was highly recruited. Who knows what quarterback could come in, and then it could be kind of right back where we are in a year or so.
I mean, next year, looking at the schedule, and I mean, I'm not going to predict any games or anything, but start at home. At home, yes. Let's start at home September 2nd against Fresno State, like I said, defending Mountain West champions. Then you go to Blacksburg against Virginia Tech on September 9th. Host Syracuse September 16th. Host Wisconsin September 23rd. Walters did have good results against Wisconsin this year. And it's nice to get them early on the schedule.
Yeah.
We never played them in September, at least as far as I can remember. Then we get Illinois, which that game just got more interesting for the Cannon on September 30th. Go to Iowa City on October 7th. Host the Buckeyes on October 14th. Have a bye week. Then we go play Matt Rule at Nebraska October 28th. Go play Harbaugh in a Big Ten championship rematch November 4th. Host the Boat Rowers of Minnesota on November 11th. Go to Evanston on November 18th, and then host Indiana on November 25th. So, yeah. I mean, still bowl's possible. It's going to be tough. Okay. It's going to be tough, but, I mean, if he can make a bowl next year, my goodness, they're off and running ahead of expectations. And it's interesting whenever we analyze and criticize and break down coaching hires, nobody knows how they're going to turn out. We think Luke Fickell at Wisconsin and Matt Rule at Nebraska would be home run hires, but we don't know. We've been wrong before on both sides.
Scott Frost was a home run hire.
Exactly.
I think at the time when Archie Miller was hired, I was like, that could be bad.
Right.
When that happened, I was like, crap, that is a great hire by them.
Yep. So.
And it was for us.
So you just never know how they're going to turn out. I mean, we like to think we can look through a crystal ball, but until they get on the football field or on the basketball court, you just don't know. So, but I do like everything that Purdue's social media has been putting out. He's been meeting the coaches. He met Matt Painter. He met Katie Geralds. I'm sure he's got to meet Dave Shondell if he hasn't already. I'm sure they've met. Maybe it's been already on social media. I haven't been on in a little while, but
it's got to be pretty. I don't know. Obviously, it's got to be pretty cool from that standpoint. I mean, like I don't know, I've heard other people talk about this too, but like, when a coach meets Painter, it's like he's the living embodiment of what you can do at Purdue if you do things the right way and go do what you're supposed to do. Like, we're gonna be, we're a loyal fan base, we're a loyal school. Like, if you do what you're supposed to do and always try and make improvements,
you're probably going gold and black right now, and there's got to be a couple people saying fire Painter somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, if they are, they need stripped of their board privileges right now.
Yeah, but it's. I mean, he was kind of saying. I think people are saying it too. But like Braum with Painter is like, you can look at Painter and just see Braum could have had that too. I mean, obviously, and again, going back to understand why he left, but like he could have easily probably had that type of career at Purdue if he wanted it.
I still think, and I know we're talking Ryan Walters tonight, and we're glad he's here and the 37th Purdue head football coach in the history of the program. But I still think if Jeff Brom was from anywhere else besides Louisville, he's still Purdue's coach. Mm-hmm. I don't think he takes that job. I think Purdue's a better job. Louisville might have an easier path to the college football playoff.
Easier path. You've got again a fan base.
Bunch of nut jobs.
3 years from now, where's Jeff Brom? Is he on the hot seat?
How many years?
3 years from now.
He's comfortable there 3 years.
I think. I mean, you got a fan base. You've got an administration that all they care about is winning, and so they're going to do.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If they go 6-6 next year, they're going to be upset about that.
I'm thinking more in terms of like NIL, like doing whatever it takes to do
exactly. And then when they do everything, like
horse and bourbon money, man. Horse and bourbon money.
Did you see that? When then Vince Morrow from Kentucky, that even the Purdue writers have talked about how sleazy he is, pretty openly about him before pre-NIL, and he's going to potentially go with him to Louisville from Kentucky.
Are you guys hoping Jeff Brom has success at Louisville?
No, absolutely not.
I want him to do. I still am very thankful for what he did at Purdue. I understand why he left. 7 to 8 wins. I'm good with that. I don't want him making the playoffs.
If he makes the playoff, I'm gonna be so.
He can whoop IU these next 3 years. He can whoop Notre Dame every time they play. I'm good with that. But
I mean, just what's come out with again, maybe it's people. It sounds like sour grapes about all that's come out about him after he's left now, about the culture issues and lack of discipline, the academic issues that's come out that sounds kind of like, oh, he's not here anymore. This guy's a jerk. He left, so now we're just going to arrow this all out. But who knows how true it is? But it does. They've kind of, even Brian Newbert has hinted at about like the Bromco, the whole I think Brom, they almost pulled his credentials from a game because he asked a difficult question, and they're like, never again. You're not gonna it just seems like they operated differently. Even that's coming out. I don't know.
I mean, the whole family thing was just kind of was weird and probably rubbed some people the wrong way, which I get.
Here's what Babinski, I was trying to find this quote. Here's what he said about Ryan Walters today. He said, from an early point in the search process, Walters stood out because of the energy, passion, and intelligence he displayed as a defensive coordinator in both the Big Ten Conference and Southeastern Conference. His meteoric rise in the coaching profession is in large part due to his unique ability to connect with his student athletes as both a coach and mentor. Yeah. So, and he said something about fitting in perfectly with the Purdue culture and the community too. So,
He's
I
won
think,
black and gold before multiple times.
Yep.
So
Yep. So and he's coached at Purdue before, not only at Illinois but at Missouri. So on defense, in that crazy shootout that there was no defense played that night on either side of the ball. So Drew Lock against David Blau, 2 NFL quarterbacks, 2 bench warmers.
Hey, getting that paycheck.
That's okay. That's okay. David's supposed to be. Drew Lock was not supposed to be.
Right.
So, any final thoughts, guys, as we start to wrap this
I'm
up?
excited. I'm excited to see kind of what transpires between now and the bowl game. And it's kind of always a weird time of now we've even got a little bit of a longer break from a bowl game between the end of the season. Usually it's, right after Christmas, but now we have to wait until after New Year's. But you see, that's obviously what I'm looking at is, OC, DC, strength and conditioning is going to be a huge thing. Can our offensive linemen not break their backs every year? And have to retire. That's what that's what I'm looking forward to seeing. Obviously, seeing who's going to be playing in this bowl game, and please God, keep it close to LSU because
don't let this be a Heart of Dallas or a Music City Bowl 1.0.
Yeah.
Boy, yeah.
But
I would love to be Brian Kelly, but I don't know. It's just weird feelings going into this bowl game, but
I feel a little better now that Purdue actually has a coach.
Sure.
Than before, when it was this lame
Wild
duck
West.
staff. It's none of us are going to be here tomorrow, so what are we even playing for? I was kind of nobody's going to play. Why would even the players really want to play?
it got to give Mike Bobinski credit too in the world of 2022 to keep this search so quiet was unbelievable. How it literally didn't get leaked until the official announcement was remarkable.
I mean, there was barely anything on Todd Monken interviewed. We think he interviewed. We're pretty sure he interviewed. And then, we think Purdue talked to Helton and
it's
maybe but there was nothing.
It was Shepard's is probably a first candidate for a Western Kentucky head coaching job. Should Helton take another job? That's okay. That obviously means Helton's coming, but then. Nope.
Speculation, yeah. It was insanely quiet. It was nuts.
Yeah.
No, it was of the few couple coaching searches I've been through as a fan on my sports, it was never like this. It was crazy.
Are you maybe we can talk, it doesn't matter because we're at an hour now, but are you surprised it took 9 days from
I am.
Yeah.
Basically
I thought we'd have something announced by Sunday evening. And
I thought Monday at the absolute latest. I think that's what we talked about, Tanner. I think it's when we'd start to feel nervous, and I sure as hell was feeling nervous.
Oh, it was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah.
It was really bad. I was gonna be in full panic mode if we got through today without anything. I was gonna start saying, hire high school coach, hire somebody, just anybody, hire me. I'll go take the job for way less than you pay these guys. So, yeah, but no, it's fun. Ryan Walters' era has begun. Purdue football. So, and shout out to our sponsors, both sponsors, Mad Mushroom and The Shop. Mad Mushroom right now, the pizza of the month is the Breakfast Bomb. It's their signature sausage gravy, onions, green peppers, diced potatoes, bacon, cheddar, and mozzarella cheeses, and served with a side of hot sauce. Only starting at $14, so get 2 of those bad boys. That puts you over $20. You can tell them the Boiler Breakdown sent you. Or use the discount code BREAK5, BREAK5 online for $5 off any order over $20. Make sure you get some cheese sticks there. The home of the original cheese stick. Best cheese sticks around, not only in West Lafayette, state of Indiana, the country, the world. Yeah. Best cheese sticks, Mad Mush, serving Boilermakers for a long time. Mad Mushroom, feed your head. And The Shop, of course, you can get great merch for 25% off with discount code BREAKDOWN. Evan's wearing one of their shirts tonight. He's repping right there with the boiler up with, I couldn't tell, Purdue Pete. Was that a basketball shirt?
Yep, basketball shirt. Yeah,
basketball shirt. Yep. Good looking
Actually,
one
they
there.
posted, and I shared it on our Twitter page. They showed that I think it was last month or this month. The number one seller right now is the Purdue Script hoodie on their
Beautiful.
store. So if you want to get it for Christmas, I know I asked for Christmas, so
come on, hey, Santa.
Yep, he says use promo code Breakdown 25% off. They got a lot of great stuff, and they're going to continue to come out with awesome merch as we continue through the basketball season.
That discount's only good for their online store, the shopindy.com, but they also have 2 actual in-person stores.
Brick and
too.
mortar locations,
Thank
Carmel, one in Carmel, one in Broad Ripple. If you're on the Broad Ripple, mind the sidewalk construction that's happening, but they're still open, they're still rocking, they're still kicking. Great people, awesome clothing, awesome. I said I've got the drum drink or glassware, so they've got a bunch of good stuff.
Absolutely. So get yourself some pizza, some cheese sticks, some merch, all the above. Christmas is still 12 days away. You got time. So, all right, fellas, unless you guys have any other closing remarks, let's boil it up, hammer down, and beat the Wildcats in the Indy Classic on Saturday.
Yep.
And full steam ahead. Keep this train rolling. I guess.